I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. Playing a video game turns into a school threat. A Buddy Taylor Middle School student faces second-degree felony charges of making a false report of a bombing. Flagler County Sheriff's deputies say boys from Buddy Taylor Middle were playing an interactive Xbox game last Saturday. When the trio of students began losing, one got angry and yelled he would shoot up school this week. An arrest report says a student told police that his friend was making a map of the school so he could aim down the hallway to shoot. Police say the boy has been bullied and known to be violent. His friend claims the boy also threatened to kill himself. One of the boy's mothers told the school, which decided to turn the case over to law enforcement. Flagler County Schools spokesman Jason Wheeler.
We just stand behind what the sheriff had put out. The only thing I can add is we always stress that if you see something, say something, and that's what happened in this case.
Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley echoed those sentiments, saying he's glad students spoke up and told their parents about the incident. He adds they've got a zero-tolerance policy for school threats. The suspect told officers he sometimes says things out of anger, and his mother assured deputies that he has no access to any guns that may be in the home. This latest school threat comes after a 14-year-old Buddy Taylor Middle School student was arrested in December for bringing a handgun to school. Police say that weapon had been taken from a stolen vehicle in Palm Coast.
This portion of Flagler's Morning News brought to you by the Daytona Beach International Airport, Delta Airlines nonstop to Atlanta, and starting in May, nonstop flights to New York City via American Airlines.
Flagler County takes a huge technological step forward with emergency communications. Tony Magoo explains.
You are now able to text on your phone using your data plan to 911.
You can now send text messages to local 911 call centers during an emergency. Sheriff Rick Staley.
We still prefer that you call 911 so that we can ask questions.
If you have trouble hearing or speaking, or if a voice call is impossible because of the situation you're in, this is a huge step forward in emergency communication.
You can now text us and it will come straight to our communication center. You can text back and forth with a dispatcher.
Remember to call when you can, text when you can't. If text to 911 is not available in your area, you'll receive a response alerting you to call 911. And remember, text to 911 should only be used for a true emergency. Calling or texting 911 when it is not an emergency is considered a crime. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
After a dozen people died in Flagler County in 2017 from opioid overdoses, and more than 175 people ended up in the emergency room, Flagler County officials say they want answers to stop the opioid epidemic. Flagler County commissioners and members of the county's Public Safety Coordinating Council met in a joint session at the Emergency Operations Center to discuss possible solutions. They heard presentations from first responders, treatment providers, and local agencies. Commissioner Joe Mullins, who's 7 years in recovery after struggling with addiction, wants to create what he called a safe atmosphere for people to ask for help. One hindrance, fear of prosecution for anyone present when a drug user overdoses. The state attorney's office says anyone who calls for medical help in an overdose situation can't be prosecuted except in the case of a murder. They also discussed the need for better outreach, saying services do the community no good if they don't know about them.
With a new city manager at the helm, there are a lot of changes happening in Bunnell.
One of those changes is the city's special events ordinance. City Manager Alvin Jackson said the ordinance would be standardized.
For every 50 folks, we would need an officer.
Jackson said that as with the music video that was shot in Bunnell in November, there will be security so that everybody has a good time at the city's special events. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
A memorial service will be held this evening for a former Flagler County Jail inmate who died under mysterious circumstances. John Arking has more.
23-year-old Anthony Fennick will be remembered by loved ones at a service set for 6 p.m. at the Craig Flagler Palms Funeral Home in Flagler Beach. Fennick died last Saturday after an emergency medical episode inside the Flagler County Jail February 4th. After vomiting and complaining of a headache, he was rushed to Advent Health Palm Coast where he suffered cardiac arrest and was declared brain dead. Family members eventually decided to turn off his breathing machine. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office is conducting a criminal negligence investigation along with an internal affairs probe into the circumstances surrounding Fennick's death. Results of an autopsy aren't expected for several weeks. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help pay for funeral expenses. Fennick, who leaves behind a 2-year-old daughter, had been jailed on a probation violation from a previous burglary conviction. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arking.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.